This is the much anticipated all-new BMW 3 Series, specifically the 330i M Sport. Now before I go any further, if you like looking around new cars like this one and this is your first time visiting the channel, now might be a good time to hit subscribe and get notified when we post new videos every Wednesday. And we do have a lot of exciting stuff on the way this summer. And I would count this new BMW 3 Series as one of the most exciting new model launches of the year, because after nearly 45 years and 7 generations, this new G20 being lucky number 7, it's still one of the most desirable cars on the road. And this new look has, in my opinion anyway, made it even more so, with a slightly edgier look to the face. This little kink in the headlights here probably being your most obvious visual clue, that and the new one-piece grille, which is blacked out on this M Sport model. Then if you follow me around the back, you've got these longer, flatter taillights and a much curvier rear end than what we're used to seeing on a BMW. So a bit of Botox in the face and a bit of filler in the back, very 2019. Anyway, I like it, but as always, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the new look in the comments section below. Now, generally speaking, those in the market for a sporty saloon like this one are less interested in the space and practicality end of things and more about the image and performance. But nevertheless, we still have to carry out our Cars Ireland checklist to make sure it still does all the boring things that a car needs to do, starting with its load carrying capabilities. And at 480 litres, the boot is exactly average for the class. It's exactly the same as what you'll get in an Audi A4 and a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, although still a good bit bigger than what you'll get in a Tesla Model 3, which I suppose we also have to count amongst its competitors now. So a very average saloon boot. You do have a little bit of a load lip to lug stuff over, but also some practical features like nets and tether points and the ability to fold the 2 back seats flat at the pull of a lever. Once you pop them back up, it is most definitely a 2-person job back here because this transmission tunnel is massive. But any less than 3 back here should be pretty comfortable. Head and legroom are actually much better than they might appear on first glance, and once you actually sit back here with a decent bit of head clearance and room to stretch the legs out under the seat in front of you. As for creature comfort, you've got 3-zone climate control as standard and this pull down centre armrest complete with this funky pop out cup holder mechanism. In the front is where you'll see the biggest change, and there's been an impressive redesign which gives it a very, very modern feel. There's been an interesting choice of materials. It's top class luxury along the dashboard as always, but as for this metal trim along the centre console, I'm not quite so sold on it. It just feels a little bit too technical and sterile for me, but each to their own, and it is damped to perfection and still does achieve an unmistakably premium feel. As for what you get for your money, the BMW trim system is quite simple in that you can choose between an SE, Sport and the M Sport. All of them will get this impressive iDrive infotainment system as standard, and we'll play around with that in just a second, as well as a reversing camera, all-round parking sensors and other vitals like ambient lighting in the cabin. Now I might laugh, but I actually love it, and it also extends into the back, which is really nice. Upgrading to the Sport will get you larger wheels and heated leather seats, but most people will still want the full BMW experience of the M Sport, which of course adds all those great M Sport styling upgrades and a fully digital instrument cluster. And it's about time too, because Audi and Mercedes were really putting them in the shade here for a while. Is it as good as those other 2 systems? Again, it's a matter of personal taste. I think I'd put it somewhere in between the 2, in that it's not as wow as the Audi virtual cockpit, but it does somehow feel a little bit better integrated and more natural to use than what's going into the newer Mercs. Again, feel free to disagree in the comment section below. Shifting focus to this screen, and the iDrive infotainment system is still the one to beat over here, I think. It just offers so many features and services, yet still feels so easy and simple to use. You can control it in loads of different ways, like the dial in the centre here, as a touchscreen, voice control on the steering wheel, or even gesture control if you spec it. Then one last thing before we take it for a spin is the new BMW Personal Assistant, which can be activated via voice control. So, hey BMW!
Hello, what can I help you with?
Let's go for a drive. The engine lineup at the moment consists of 3 diesels and 2 petrols, with more to follow, including a couple of M Performance models, an actual M model and a 330e plug-in hybrid. So the diesel choice is between the 318, 320 and 330D, ranging in power outputs between 150 and 265 PS. Some with the option of xDrive, some with the option of a manual transmission, and some more sensible than others. But we're not here to talk about diesels today. This is the 330i, and despite what the name might suggest, it's actually a 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol, albeit one that pushes out 258 PS with the help of a twin-scroll turbocharger. Now, that lack of cylinders might upset some BMW purists out there who missed the note of a straight 6, but really in terms of performance, there's nothing to complain about here. The power uptake is instant, there's tons of it available, and that 8-speed auto box is slick, smooth and absolutely effortless. It's 50 kilos lighter than the previous one, and I think that you really feel that on the road. It does feel lighter and then quicker as a result, yet it sits nice and low, so you've still got that perfect balance and control and feeling of total engagement that you can only get from a rear-wheel drive. Now, this one has the optional M Sport package, which means it comes with the adaptive M Sport suspension for a sportier feel, although the drive mode selector will allow you to adjust that to suit the conditions. And I have absolutely no complaints about its road manners. It seems to just take everything in its stride, whether it's lumpy B roads or suburban ramps. There's very, very little that will upset the apple tart in here. The M Sport pack also adds the M Sport differential to give you a little bit of extra confidence if you feel like flinging it into some corners, which is very, very tempting and very enjoyable to do. It's extremely satisfying to be able to drive a 2-litre petrol saloon of this calibre and not actually feel that bad about it, because the running costs, and I have to insert a very big disclaimer here, in relation to performance, are actually not that bad at 7 litres per 100 kilometres, or about 10 mpg less than what you'll get from a 320D. There's also the option of the smaller and perhaps more appropriately named 320i, which still offers a very respectable 180 brake horsepower and will save you a significant chunk off the initial purchase price. But if money isn't an object, then just buy this one. Prices start at about €44,000 for the petrol and €45,000 for the diesel, although this 330i M Sport starts at €54,000. Then once you add your comfort, technology and M Sport styling packages, you could be looking at closer to €60,000 for a fully loaded model. Now, there's really not a lot to fault about this car, but at that price point I feel obliged to point out a few mandatory niggles. While the attention to detail is generally excellent, it doesn't extend to every corner and crevice of the car. For example, the glove box might be beautifully lined and compartmentalised, but the door bins are not lined, which seems a little bit odd considering they are on a Volkswagen Golf and Ford Focus. Then going back to my old phone problems, even if you do have one of those fancy new phones with inductive charging, you better hope that it's not an Android, because iDrive is not yet compatible with Android Auto. And finally, you'll have to pay extra if you want electric seat adjustment. Even though this is the top of the range M Sport model, and even though that is a standard feature on the AMG line C-Class, even the optional comfort pack on this one doesn't save you from this most laborious task of manual seat adjustment. But none of that is enough to put me off this car, because it's brilliant in every other way, it's beautiful to look at, and it's the most fun I've had behind the wheel in ages. Do let me know what you think in the comment section below, do give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and do subscribe if you'd like to stay up to date with reviews of all of its competitors, including the newly updated Audi A4, which we'll be getting our hands on very soon. Thanks for watching.